Journey into the heart of Greece, where timeless charm meets captivating allure. This travel documentary invites you to explore a land of beauty, mystery, and unforgettable encounters shaped by culture, passion, and breathtaking experiences. Chivalry is not dead in Greece. In the vibrant social landscape of Greece, traditional chivalry is not a forgotten relic, but a living, breathing part of the dating dance. While Greek women are famously strong and independent, they still appreciate and expect classic gentlemanly gestures. This isn't about outdated notions of inequality. Rather, it's seen as a sign of respect, effort, and genuine interest. In a culture that values gallantry, these actions demonstrate that a man is serious and well-mannered, setting the tone for a potential relationship built on mutual admiration. This code of conduct manifests in simple, everyday actions. A man is expected to be the one to initiate the first date, typically by inviting a woman for a coffee. When that bill arrives, it is almost universally understood that the man will offer to pay, especially during the initial stages of courtship. Other small but significant gestures, like opening doors, offering a jacket if she is cold, or ensuring she gets home safely after an evening out, are not just pleasant surprises. They are the standard script for a considerate suitor. Ultimately, this preserved sense of chivalry is deeply intertwined with the Greek value of philotimo, a complex concept encompassing honor, duty, and doing what is right. For a man dating a Greek woman, acting with chivalry is a public demonstration of his philotimo. It shows respect not only for her, but for her family and their upbringing. In modern Greece, these timeless gestures coexist seamlessly with contemporary dating life, proving that respect and romance never truly go out of style. Olive trees, older than empires. On the island of Crete, beneath skies that have watched empires rise and crumble, stand olive trees that have lived for more than 3,000 years. Their gnarled trunks twist like sculptures carved by time itself, and their roots stretch deep into soil that has nourished civilizations from the Minoans to the Byzantines. These trees are not relics preserved in silence. They are alive, thriving, and still producing fruit. Their silvery leaves shimmering in the Mediterranean sun, as if whispering ancient secrets. Generations have passed beneath their branches, from farmers harvesting with woven baskets to poets finding inspiration in their resilience. They have endured wars, invasions, droughts, and shifting rulers, yet they remain unbroken, guardians of Crete's heritage. Local legends say that warriors and kings once tasted their oil, and that offerings from these ancient groves were given to the gods. Scientists who study their growth rings confirm their staggering age, while villagers treat them with quiet reverence, as living monuments that hold the memory of Greece itself. Today, these timeless olive trees are both symbols of continuity and providers of nourishment. Their olives are pressed into rich oils still considered among the finest in the world, linking modern kitchens to millennia-old traditions. Travelers who visit Crete marvel not just at their age, but at their vitality, finding awe in the idea that something so old still gives new life. In their twisted bark lies a story of endurance, of roots that cling to history, and of branches that stretch forward into the future. The land with no navigable rivers. Greece, a land of mountains, myths, and seas, carries a geographical secret that surprises many. It has no navigable rivers. While much of the world's trade and travel has long relied on rivers as natural highways, Greece's rugged terrain and short, steep waterways have never allowed ships to sail inland. Its rivers, such as the Akalos or the Pinios, tumble swiftly from mountain slopes, feeding valleys and plains, but offering no calm stretches wide enough for large vessels to pass. Instead of winding trade routes through waterways, Greece turned toward the sea, building one of history's greatest maritime cultures. This absence shaped the nation's destiny. Without navigable rivers, the ancient Greeks relied on the Aegean and Mediterranean as their connectors, stitching together city-states through naval power rather than inland transport. The seas became their lifelines, carrying ideas, goods, and armies, enabling Athens, Sparta, and Corinth to thrive. This lack of river trade may have been a challenge, but it also fostered ingenuity and seafaring brilliance. Greek mythology even reflects this maritime identity, filled with tales of Odysseus, Jason, and sea-born gods who ruled the waves. Today, this unique trait still defines Greece. Where other countries boast river ports, Greece dazzles with harbors and islands, each linked by ferries, fishing boats, and yachts. Visitors marvel not at mighty riverbanks, but at turquoise coastlines, where the sea serves as both road and storyteller. The nation's lack of navigable rivers did not limit its growth. It redirected it, making Greece inseparable from the sea and ensuring its legacy as a land of sailors, explorers, and dreamers. Blue doors against evil. Across the sunlit villages of Greece, a striking splash of blue greets the eye. Doors, shutters, and window frames painted in shades that mirror the Aegean itself. This color is not merely aesthetic. It carries a centuries-old belief that blue wards off evil spirits and misfortune. Known as kyano, the hue was thought to repel the evil eye, a curse born of envy or ill will. In places like Santorini, Mykonos, and countless island towns, blue has become both shield and signature, wrapping homes in a color believed to protect families while harmonizing beautifully with whitewashed walls. The tradition reflects the deep intertwining of spirituality and daily life in Greece. For generations, villagers believed that malevolent forces lurked unseen, ready to bring sickness, hardship, or bad luck. To counter them, people turned to symbols of protection, and blue became one of the most powerful. This belief is echoed in the mati, the blue glass amulet still sold in markets and worn as jewelry across the country. By painting doors and windows blue, households symbolically sealed off entry points from negative energies, transforming ordinary architecture into a protective charm. Today, the practice continues, though often blended with modern tourism and aesthetics. Visitors may admire the iconic Cycladic look, without realizing that each cobalt door and azure shutter carries layers of history, belief, and resilience. What began as spiritual defense now stands as one of Greece's most recognizable cultural trademarks, connecting ancient superstitions with modern beauty. These blue thresholds are more than decoration. They are guardians, watching silently over generations as the Aegean sun casts its timeless glow. No tooth fairy here in Greece. In Greece, the familiar childhood ritual of slipping a tooth beneath the pillow for a fairy's visit is replaced with something far more unique. When a child loses a tooth, it is carefully thrown onto the roof of the house, accompanied by a small wish or blessing. This tradition, passed down through generations, is believed to bring good luck, strong teeth, and a prosperous future. The act connects children to a cultural custom that is both playful and deeply symbolic, rooting their personal milestones in a collective heritage. The origins of this practice are thought to lie in ancient folk beliefs. In many cultures, teeth were considered powerful symbols of health and strength, and how they were disposed of mattered. By tossing the tooth upward toward the sky, Greek families symbolically offered it to higher powers, seeking protection for the child as they grew. Some regions even have little rhymes or songs recited during the toss, adding a festive and ritualistic feel to the moment. Unlike the secretive, nighttime visit of a fairy, the Greek version is an open, shared act that often involves the whole family watching and celebrating. Even today, in modern Greek cities and villages, the tradition continues with surprising consistency. Children eagerly climb onto balconies or find a safe spot to hurl their tiny tooth skyward, laughing as they imagine it landing just right. For them, it's less about money under the pillow and more about carrying forward a piece of cultural identity. This simple act turns the loss of a tooth into a wish-filled ceremony, tying the innocence of childhood to a uniquely Greek expression of hope and good fortune. A Christmas boat instead of a tree. In Greece, Christmas carries a luminous twist on tradition. Instead of only adorning evergreen trees, many families decorate a small wooden boat, glowing with strings of lights. This practice, known as karavaki, is deeply tied to the nation's maritime heritage. For centuries, boats have symbolized safe journeys, prosperity, and hope for sailors returning home across the Aegean and Mediterranean seas. During the festive season, a boat sparkling with lights becomes both a symbol of celebration and a heartfelt wish for loved ones traveling by sea. The origins of this tradition stretch back long before Christmas trees became popular in Greece, introduced only in the 19th century by King Otto of Bavaria. For island communities, where nearly every family had ties to sailors or fishermen, decorating a boat was far more meaningful. Children would build or carve miniature vessels, often placing them in windows or central spots in their homes, their glowing presence lighting up the winter nights. Some villages even displayed large boats in town squares, where communities gathered to sing carols and celebrate the season together. Today, while Christmas trees have become common across Greece, the decorated boat continues to shine as a uniquely Greek custom. Especially in coastal towns and islands, families proudly display their illuminated karavakia, blending tradition with modern festivity. For many, the Christmas boat is more than a decoration. It's a reminder of Greece's enduring relationship with the sea, a tribute to the countless voyages that shaped its history, and a sparkling beacon of hope guiding loved ones safely into the new year. When Easter outshines Christmas. In Greece, Easter is not just a religious holiday, but the heart of the cultural calendar, surpassing even Christmas in its significance and scale. The entire Holy Week builds anticipation, from solemn church services to processions lit by candles and hymns echoing through narrow streets. At midnight on Holy Saturday, the atmosphere transforms as bells ring, fireworks light up the night sky, and families gather to share the holy light, a flame passed hand to hand, symbolizing renewal and hope. This dramatic contrast between reverence and celebration captures the essence of Greek spirituality and joy. The feasting that follows is equally grand, steeped in symbolism and tradition. Red-dyed eggs take center stage, representing both the blood of Christ and the promise of rebirth. The game of cracking eggs against each other is a playful ritual, with the unbroken egg symbolizing good fortune for the year ahead. Tables overflow with dishes like majiritsa soup, slow-roasted lamb, and handmade pastries, turning the holiday into a celebration of abundance and community. Families and neighbors open their homes, blurring the line between private and public festivities in a shared spirit of joy. What makes Greek Easter truly unforgettable is its fusion of faith, family, and festivity. From island villages to bustling cities, the air fills with fireworks, laughter, and the aroma of roasting meat. While many countries emphasize Christmas as the pinnacle of the year, in Greece, it is Easter that reigns supreme, binding generations together in a tradition that is both ancient and vibrantly alive today. The whistling village in Greece. High in the mountains of Evia, in the tiny village of Antia, words take flight in the form of whistles. Here, residents practice an ancient whistling language known as sphyria, a rare form of communication that can be heard echoing across valleys and hillsides. Developed centuries ago, likely as a way to send messages over long distances in rugged terrain, this remarkable tradition turns human speech into melodic whistling patterns. Each tone, pitch, and rhythm represents a syllable, allowing entire conversations to be carried from one mountain to another with clarity that astonishes outsiders. The whistling language is not a coded novelty, but a fully functional system. Villagers have long used it to pass news, call for help, or simply converse when their voices would otherwise be lost to the wind. Scientists have studied sphyria with fascination, comparing its complexity to spoken languages, noting how whistled frequencies can travel farther than the human voice. For the people of Antia, however, it has always been practical, a cultural tool born of necessity in their isolated environment, now cherished as part of their identity. Sadly, sphyria faces the threat of fading away. With younger generations moving to cities, only a handful of elders still master the art. Yet efforts are underway to preserve this intangible treasure, with documentaries, linguists, and cultural enthusiasts bringing global attention to the village. A country with its own color. Across Greece, a particular shade of blue seems to follow you everywhere, from the domes of Cycladic churches to shutters, doors, and fishing boats swaying in the Aegean breeze. This striking hue, often called Greek blue, has become so intertwined with the country's identity that it is officially recognized as its own color. It's not just an aesthetic choice, it's a reflection of the deep connection between the Greek people and the sea and sky that surround them. This vivid blue captures the very essence of the Mediterranean landscape, a shade that feels at once calming, vibrant, and timeless. The origins of Greek blue are both practical and symbolic. In older times, villagers used a cleaning product containing a blue pigment to paint their homes, believing it kept away insects and even ward off evil. Over time, the color became more than a practical coating. It transformed into a symbol of protection, peace, and harmony. When paired with the stark white of traditional island houses, the blue creates the dazzling contrasts that Greece is famous for, where every corner looks like a postcard. The color became so distinct and iconic that it eventually received official recognition as a unique shade of paint. To see Greece through the lens of its signature blue is to understand the nation's soul. It's the color of the waves that lap its countless islands, the skies that stretch endlessly above its sunlit ruins, and the shutters that frame everyday village life. Greek blue is not merely a color, it's a cultural heartbeat, forever binding the natural and human landscapes of this remarkable country. Secret monasteries in the sky. Rising like stone giants from the plains of Thessaly, the Meteora cliffs carry on their summits some of the most extraordinary monasteries in the world. These monasteries in the sky were built beginning in the 14th century, when monks sought refuge from political unrest and invading armies. The sheer rock faces offered natural protection, making them almost impossible for outsiders to reach. From a distance, the monasteries appear to float in the clouds, a surreal sight that has inspired awe for centuries. In the earliest days, access to these sanctuaries was deliberately treacherous. Monks would climb handmade rope ladders or be hoisted up in nets, relying on faith as much as strength to reach their holy refuge. Supplies were pulled up the cliffs in baskets, and visitors often had to place their trust in a single rope pulley. This isolation created an atmosphere of complete devotion and silence, where monks could focus entirely on spiritual life, cut off from worldly distractions. The remoteness was both a defense mechanism and a symbol of their commitment to God. Today, Meteora remains a UNESCO World Heritage Site and continues to be home to functioning monasteries, though stone steps and pathways now make the journey less perilous. The sight of these sacred structures clinging to cliffs, surrounded by mist and endless sky, still feels otherworldly. They embody a balance of human determination and divine inspiration, standing as a testament to faith that could move not just mountains, but climb them. Greece, where democracy was born. More than 2,500 years ago, in the bustling city of Athens, a radical idea took root, one that would forever shape the way humans govern themselves. In 507 BC, under the leadership of Cleisthenes, Athens introduced the world's first known democracy, giving ordinary citizens a direct voice in political decisions. Unlike monarchies ruled by kings or oligarchies dominated by elites, this new system allowed male citizens to gather, debate, and vote on issues that affected the community. It was far from perfect, excluding women, slaves, and foreigners, yet it marked the first step toward government by the people. The Athenian assembly, known as the Ecclesia, became the beating heart of this system. Citizens gathered on the Panax Hill to discuss laws, military strategies, and civic matters, with decisions reached through majority vote. Random selection, rather than inheritance or wealth, often determined public officials, a method designed to reduce corruption and favoritism. Though modern democracies are representative rather than direct, many of their principles, such as equality before the law, open debate, and citizen participation, trace their roots to this ancient experiment in Athens. Walking through Athens today, the legacy of democracy still echoes in its ruins. The stone steps of the Pnyx remain, silent reminders of where voices once rose in spirited debate. The idea that people could govern themselves has since spread across continents and centuries, evolving into countless forms of democracy worldwide. Donkeys as traditional transport. On the sun-drenched island of Santorini, where the streets wind in steep, narrow paths, donkeys remain more than just a charming symbol of tradition. They are practical companions in daily life. Long before modern tourism, these sturdy animals were the only way to move goods and people up the cliffs, carrying everything from baskets of grapes during harvest to supplies for homes perched high above the sea. Even today, their strong hooves and steady pace make them perfectly suited for navigating the cobbled stairways and sharp inclines that vehicles cannot reach. Visitors often spot donkeys climbing the famous path from the port to Phyra, their bells jingling as they move rhythmically up the slope. For locals, these animals are not merely working beasts, but trusted partners whose role has been woven into the island's cultural fabric. Donkeys feature in songs, folk tales, and even festivals, celebrated for their patience and resilience. They are living links to a slower pace of life, reminding everyone of the generations who relied on them when the island's volcanic terrain made other transport impossible. While cable cars and modern roads now offer alternatives, the donkey's place in Santorini's identity endures. Tourists often choose to ride them for a taste of tradition, though growing awareness has led to new measures ensuring the animals are treated with care and respect. Their presence along the whitewashed alleys and cliffs is more than picturesque. It is a reminder that in Greece, history lives not just in ruins and monuments. While cable cars and modern roads now offer alternatives, the donkey's place in Santorini's identity endures. Tourists often choose to ride them for a taste of tradition, though growing awareness has led to new measures ensuring the animals are treated with care and respect. Their presence along the whitewashed alleys and cliffs is more than picturesque. It is a reminder that in Greece, history lives not just in ruins and monuments, but in the quiet steps of a donkey carrying the island's spirit on its back. Island of Longevity in Greece. On the Greek island of Ikaria, time seems to flow differently, and so do lives. Tucked in the Aegean Sea, this serene island is one of the world's celebrated blue zones, places where people routinely live well past 100. It is not uncommon to meet sprightly grandmothers tending gardens or elderly men hiking mountain paths with ease. Researchers have long been fascinated by Ikaria's secrets, and the answers seem to lie in a blend of healthy lifestyle, strong community ties, and the island's stress-free rhythm. Life on Ikaria revolves around fresh food, laughter, and togetherness. Locals feast on Mediterranean staples: olive oil, wild greens, beans, fish, and a splash of local red wine. Meals are rarely rushed. They are social events shared with family and friends. Afternoon naps are a common ritual, reducing stress and giving the body time to recharge. Combined with daily physical activity, walking up hills, farming, or tending goats, these habits create a natural balance that supports health without the need for rigid diets or gyms. But perhaps the greatest secret of Ikaria's longevity is the culture of connection. No one feels truly alone here. Festivals, music, and communal dances are frequent, and neighbors look out for one another. Elders are respected and remain active in both family and community life, carrying a sense of purpose well into old age. On this island, aging is not feared, but embraced, and the result is a population that lives not only longer, but better, proving that joy, simplicity, and togetherness may just be the best medicine of all. A secret cave of the underworld. In the rugged landscapes of Epirus, Greece, lies the Necromanteon of Acheron, a site that ancient Greeks believed was the very gateway to Hades. Nestled near the banks of the river Acheron, a river itself steeped in myth as a passage to the underworld, this cave was no ordinary hollow in the earth. Pilgrims once traveled from across Greece seeking communion with the dead, guided by priests who performed elaborate rituals designed to thin the veil between the living and the afterlife. For the ancients, stepping into the Necromanteon was like brushing against the realm of shadows. The cave's chambers, dimly lit and winding, amplified its aura of mystery. Visitors would fast, purify themselves, and offer sacrifices before descending into its dark passageways. Ancient texts describe hallucinogenic meals and disorienting rituals meant to prepare seekers for contact with lost souls. For many, the voices they believed they heard in the cave were more than echoes. They were whispers from beyond. The physical design of the site, with its labyrinth-like corridors and subterranean rooms, only added to the impression that mortals were treading the path of Persephone and Orpheus themselves. Today, the ruins of the Necromanteon still exude a haunting power. Standing in its crumbling halls, one can almost imagine the flicker of oil lamps, the hushed prayers of supplicants, and the eerie silence that followed each ritual. While science may dismiss the cave's supernatural claims, its allure remains undeniable. The Necromanteon is not just an archaeological site. It is a living reminder of how deeply myth and belief shaped the Greek understanding of life, death, and the mysteries that lie beyond. An entire mountain of monks. On the northeastern coast of Greece rises Mount Athos, a peninsula so steeped in spirituality that it has been known for centuries as the Holy Mountain. This autonomous monastic republic is home to 20 ancient monasteries and nearly 2,000 monks who dedicate their lives to prayer, silence, and devotion. Entry is strictly regulated, and only men are permitted to set foot within its borders, preserving a tradition of spiritual seclusion that has endured for over 1,000 years. For the monks, Mount Athos is not just a home, but a sacred sanctuary where time seems to stand still. Life on Mount Athos follows rhythms untouched by modern distractions. Monks rise before dawn, spending hours in prayer and chanting liturgies in candlelit chapels filled with incense and Byzantine icons. Their days are divided between spiritual duties, farming, and preserving manuscripts, while their meals are simple and vegetarian, eaten in silence as scripture is read aloud. This way of life reflects the monks' belief that the mountain is consecrated ground, a living testament to devotion and humility. Many describe the atmosphere as one of deep peace, where the outside world feels distant and irrelevant. Visitors who are granted permission, primarily pilgrims and scholars, often speak of Mount Athos as a place where faith takes physical form. Its monasteries, perched on cliffs overlooking the Aegean, seem to merge with the landscape, creating a vision both majestic and serene. For over a millennium, this secluded peninsula has stood as a fortress of spirituality, guarding its traditions against the tide of history. Mount Athos remains one of the most unique and mystical places in the world, a mountain where faith alone reigns supreme. Thanks for exploring Greece with us, where allure, history, and vibrant traditions create unforgettable moments. If you enjoyed this journey, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more travel documentaries worldwide.